Hello, everybody. So, Anick, Vice President at C2. So today I'm going to start to warm up the audience and ask a few questions. I'm going to please pray on my slides too. So where do you get your best ideas? Now, show of hands, those of you who get them on demand in a boardroom. Okay. Who are getting their best ideas in unexpected environments or while doing activities that are pretty random? Yeah, that's what I thought. So I heard shower, probably some folks doing meditation. You know, it might be sipping margaritas in Tulum on a beautiful beach. For me, I'm a skier. I like a little adrenaline rush, and so it happens in the chairlift. Fresh air, adrenaline, perfect spot for creative ideas. So this brings us to one thing we obsess about at C2. How can we create an environment that foster human connection and flow of ideas, and connections that are made on the basis of connecting on ideas? So C2 stands for Commerce and Creativity, and our mission is really to propel the economy and society forward by changing the mindset of leaders through immersive, collaborative experiences and engaging content. I could talk about C2 for hours because that's my day job, but I'm gonna roll a video that was taken in May at our flagship events in Montreal, where 7,000 leaders from 24 industries and over 60 countries connect, exchange ideas, and make business happen. So we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars of business that happens over those 3 days. So, what brings us here today is to talk about a type of experience that goes on at C2. You saw many examples and images while we ran the video, and they're the labs. So the labs are really true to our DNA because they reunite a lot of the things that we work really hard every day to put together. They're at the intersection of art, humanities, and social sciences. They're really a typical brainstorming environments that put people out of their usual frame of references. And just to give you an idea, all of these labs are productized so they can be shipped all over the world. We have 2 right now at Infocom, so if you guys have not had the chance to try them, I suggest you should go. We are still here until I think it's 4:30. So basically, those experiences are really nice. Oh, sorry. Are really good for getting people together, but they're designed with a methodology that is quite rigorous, even if they are always a little bit playful. So a few ingredients to make sure we have a successful lab. People need to be asked to get out of their comfort zone. It needs to stimulate senses or inhibit one. It needs to bring people to collaborate with unlikely sources, and we are a little bit poetic at C2, and so we like to use metaphors. They are not just pretty and Instagrammable, they really drive business results. So when we mix meaning and play, this is where we find we get really transformative experiences. And that brings us to the role of AV. It is an AV conference after all. So we think that AV is definitely central in creating experiences that will get people to forget the reality they're in, that will wow them, and that will make them go into a place where they are a bit vulnerable. So one of the experience that is not here, but that we've premiered in 2015 in Montreal is cloud. So cloud is basically a metaphor for exploring uncertainties. So imagine getting into a room that really looks like a cloud. It's an inflatable. You can't see anything. You sit on a chair that you're not sure exactly where it is. Hopefully you don't fall out to start the brainstorming session. And you're asked to talk about a topic that has a lot of uncertainties linked to it. And as the conversation evolves and as you gain perspective from the people around you, the fog dissipates and you get that clarity. Digital, which is one of the new labs that we've put together and premiered at Innovation Realize in Amsterdam this year, is pretty, I mean, it's stunning. I can't wait to actually try it. But, and it was just premiered, I mean, like 1 month ago. Imagine getting into a room that moves in intensity as the conversation gets hotter. So we have sensors all over the room that are basically monitoring the level of decibel in the audience, and that makes images and light move at the same time. So the topic of discussion here was digitalization of industries and how can we embrace that digitalization. And so we see that the environment, once again, is a true metaphor for the topic we're exploring. So the labs at Infocom, for us, this was a great opportunity to explore some of the challenges and disruption that are facing the AV conversation and industry. And this is a quote, and we're going to run a few of those because over the last 3 days, we probably had hundreds of people trying the labs and getting feedback on those nice little piece of papers after living the experience. And so this one was great because it really illustrates exactly what we're trying to accomplish. So a different and creative environment opens up new possibilities, which is what the labs are all about. So we chose two very different experiences. One, Sky, being very visually rich, extremely stimulated, and very AV focused. And In the Dark being a completely blackout, very low electricity bills, and a great experience that completely, you know, it's pitch dark, so you can't see anything. So why In the Sky? In the Sky basically gets people to think about moonshots. So you are put in groups of 5 people with an expert moderator, and that is something that's truly unique to the C2 experiences. We always have facilitators that are trained on our methodologies to really go in depth on the topic we're trying to explore. So as you are discussing about the topic, you are elevated into this structure, so a little bit like a ride at Disney, but it's for business discussions. And the cylinder that you see is being projected with, at first, trees, where you feel that, you know, everything's very kind of in front of you, and then we elevate into something that looks like a beautiful forest, and then you're into space. So it's really about moonshots and how and where you can take the conversation. And as you're coming back down, it goes into how can we make this a reality in our industry or in our company? How do we take those great insights and make them into a reality? So the burning question we explored, sorry for the little highlighting that's not in the right place, is basically how can you use technology as a tool to implement your creative ideas and not the opposite? And so a few quotes that are really insightful. Always prioritize user experience instead of letting tech dictate your approach. It's not so intimidating once you get up there. And you see, even when people write, there's a notion of being elevated. The up there to me is something very interesting. So the other one, step one, understand the creative problems you were here to solve inside and out. And this is a quote, make technology your bitch. This one was great too. Focus through the entire program. Allow tech to support the narrative, not dictate it. So some of their learning outcomes, like last night we've gathered the cards and we started putting, finding out trends and making sense of it all. So something that really came out is that it's all about UX. So when designing experiences, keep the human in mind. How can we create and use technology as a tool to use that, to leverage and encourage creativity? And that is really like, post-event, pre-event, and during events. So how can we use that technology to power experiences and really make them engaging? The other one was a return to analog. And this one is interesting because, and we'll see it's a great segue into In the Dark, but it brings the notion of fear. I think things are moving very quick. Technology is moving quick. And in time of uncertainty, what we usually tend to do is go back to things that we know. Analog's also interesting because the ultimate analog experience is actually events because you meet people, it is analog, but then it's how can you use technology in a seamless way to make this analog experience more rich? So why In the Dark? In the Dark is really a conversation that allows everything to slow down. You cannot see body language, and so it becomes very interesting to see that by slowing down the conversation, you enable people to focus, to be active listener. And one thing that's very interesting too is we're not all extroverts, right? So how can we provide environments that make introverts feel secure to share their insights? The burning question in the dark room, what is holding you back from embracing technology and related opportunities? Organizational behavior and poor culture to experiment and fail. I think we can all relate. The unknown, reaching forward to that unknown, which is a straight link to the analog aspect, right? That fear, that lack of knowledge, the rapid pace of innovation, the fact that we're always put outside of our comfort zone. But I think it's about embracing the fact that being vulnerable is probably the most courageous thing we can do. And maybe we can just come to the conclusion that comfort zone should be not having one. Then another thing that keeps people from embracing technology for sure is investment. So time, money, energy. Big roles of leaders in embracing and encouraging risk-taking, trying to have organizations that are more agile. And this is really leadership. And at some point, like not taking risk might be the riskiest thing of all in those times of disruption. And then we were faced with a lot of really fearless people as well. As you can see there, when asking the question, what's keeping you from embracing technology, we've had a lot of nothings. Nothing, it's all in your mind. Nothing, embrace everything. And so this one's probably my favorite because I'm a very action-driven person. And so I think we can all say right now that it's time to learn. So our beliefs, in times of disruption like what we're facing right now, it's probably time for business to embrace a broader agenda. An agenda that takes into consideration our global ecosystem, made up of social, technological, environmental, and political challenges. And so let's just keep in mind when we design those experiences that the ultimate stakeholder is the human. Oh. Thank you. Oh, fade out. Risk-taking right there at C2.